Hello everyone, we are back with the controversial topic we talked about in the last video, false identities. This time, we will focus more on analyzing the mechanisms, rhetorical and communicative, used for the creation of a false identity of our past individual of study, as well as the actors, interests, structures, and ideologies that come into play, and in the end, who can benefit from such construction. Before we go further into the subject, I would like to pick up a little bit from the last video. In that chapter, we talk about Hitler and the reasons why he was an individual who created a false identity, and the consequence of this from a local to an international level. And with this in mind, I would like to talk a little bit more about the rhetorical and communicative mechanisms that were used to create it. For Aristotle, rhetoric reconciles discourse as a message and divides into the sender's message and receiver. In addition, rhetoric is a discipline dedicated to the construction of effective persuasive discourses, which is why communication and rhetoric are related. But how do these two fields of study affect the construction of this false identity? Well, it is no secret that Hitler had enormous ability to generate speeches and drive people to commit heinous acts, a common skill that individuals with false identity possess in the ability to persuade other people. For Aristotle, rhetoric is divided into four parts: invention, the stage in which ideas are sought for the subject of the discourse, where the most appropriate arguments and the circumstances of the communication are defined. Then there is the disposition, when you arrange your speech in a clear way. Then there is elocution, which includes the oral practice and the delimitation of a grammar and a lexicon to be used, and then the speech is memorized. Finally, the part of the oratory action, which refers to everything that has to do with the movement of the body, gestures, and voice modulation when you say your speech. Hitler didn't always have the ability of oratory. In fact, he studied oral declamation and also perfect his body language with his studies, which allowed him to make his way in front of the crowd. These were mechanisms that helped him to construct a false identity. In addition, his childhood, his father, the mistreatment and violence he experienced, the rejection of his drawings by the Academy, the German nationalist education he received during his school years, and the economic situation in which the majority of German residents lived due to the numerous Jewish enterprises, no doubt play an important role in the construction of his identity. From this, many people benefit. Of course, he was the most direct beneficiary. Families belonging to the Nazi political group and even transnational companies such as Ford, Hugo Boss, BMW, Adidas, and Volkswagen benefit from this construction, especially in the economic aspect. In conclusion, the construction of an identity involves different factors, such as those mentioned above, and honestly, from my point of view, I find incredible how the construction of a false identity can wreak havoc all over the world. The most unfortunate thing about this is that many people, companies, regimes, and governments helped in its creation. In closing, I would like to ask the question: is the creation of a false identity built from childhood? And does it grow because of the social support it receives? And it is feasible for a false identity to be stopped if companies, society, and the state are willing not to support it, even if they are beneficiaries? I don't think so. But what do you think?